Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Gunner Fan TV. Let me tell you, man, today watching Arsenal reminds me how stressful watching Arsenal is, man. Like we've had a break over the summer period throughout the transfer window. Yes, that was stressful, but to be honest, we weren't watching football. Now we are back watching football, and Arsenal is back at it again, man. So honestly, as the title says, Victor Gyokeres will fail if, right? If Arteta does not change his system. Victor Gyokeres will not be as successful as he was in Portugal under this current style of play. Arteta has to figure out a way to change his style of play to suit Victor Gyokeres. And you don't even have to be a football guru. You don't have to go to school to coaching school, get your badges or anything. Just a regular guy sitting in front of his TV watching football understands that if this system doesn't change, Victor Gyökeres will not be successful. It's that easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not rocket science. What we saw today was a team that's used to playing a certain type of way, right? And a striker who's used to playing a certain type of way, and you could tell it did hurt us for him not coming in early, because as you could see, he's not yet gelled with the team, and it's going to take some time. Unfortunately, we don't have time. You know what I mean? So he was out of his element today. The team seemed like it was a Gardner flying a Boeing. You know what I'm saying? It was strange to them. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't connect with him at all. Right. He made some decent runs in the second half, and he kind of was finding his footing in the second half, and that was when Mikel Arteta pulled him. I think he needs game time. I don't think pulling him was the right thing to do. Why are you protecting him? He's a professional. He understands his job and he wants to do the job. And this is why he took a pay cut to come here. So let him play. You brought on your creative players, and then you hook him. But again, if Mikel Arteta does not change his style of play, Gyökeres will fail. Sesko going to Manchester United will be more successful under their system, the way they play, right? Because they do provide a lot of attacking options, including um, the players they bought, right? With the players they brought in, these players are attacking minded, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be producing a lot more than we're producing in the attacking sense. So we have to be careful. You know what I'm saying? I did say a couple months ago that honestly, I believe that Sesko would be the better buy for Arsenal's system. Like he would suit Arsenal's system better than Gyökeres. And it's because of the way we play, our style of play. You know what I'm saying? I have this big conspiracy theory that Arteta was behind Manchester City style of play years ago when they were using this whole false nine thing. That's just my point of view. I have no data to back that up. I have no proof. I just believe that it was him who was masterminding that in Manchester City, because he's here now 6 years later and he's doing the same exact thing, and he was forced into buying a striker and he's still playing the same system, right? 3 seasons ago, 4 seasons ago now, when we lost the title, um, the football we were playing was exciting. Now we're not playing any exciting football. It's just boring. And it's 2 seasons in a row now where we're playing the same kind of boring football, right? And this is why fans are kind of nervous. I wouldn't be nervous, honestly, because it's preseason. If we're gonna be honest, it's preseason, right? And that starting lineup, I would assume, is not the same starting lineup that will be starting in our upcoming games in the Premier League. That's not our strongest team, right? We're still missing 3, 4 players who would typically start in that team, right? So let's wait until Saturday before we pass judgment on whatever system he's going to use, or even on Gyökeres, because Gyökeres, this is his first start. He's in a new team, new players. He's only had a couple training sessions. couple cameos, and today he started and he got 45 minutes plus. So I would never ever jump on the bandwagon and saying that he's a flop. That's ridiculous. Any Arsenal fan who's doing that, they need to calm down because he really hasn't played a game yet, right? If you're going to be technical, this is just a friendly, all right? But still, it's worrying. It is worrying because we as Arsenal fans, we've seen this before, right? And we see things like this creeping in, and we have PTSD. You know what I'm saying? Because Arteta is very stubborn and he doesn't like to change things, right? If he thinks this is a way where he should, this is the way he should play, he'll continue playing that way, and he'll die on that hill. You know what I'm saying? And for us fans, we've had enough of that. So he has to change his style of play, or Gyokeres will surely not thrive in a system like this. Overall, today the game, I didn't see anything that was exciting, anything that pop. I mean, this Max Dalman, he's the only um bright spark. Like Max is a baller, right? And we all see that. We all, for a 15-year-old, it's unbelievable the way he's playing, right? His composure on the ball, his attitude, him just being fearless. It's breathtaking to see Arsenal play this way, along with Ethan. Ethan Wanieri also has that spark, also has that. He's fearless, right? He wants to take on players. He's not indoctrinated under Arteta's way of playing, his style of playing, and that's refreshing to see. Same thing with Lewis Kelly. The younger kids are hungry. The older players, they've been in the system for a while. They've been playing professionally. They're not. I would think they're not hungry enough, but again, it could be Arteta. I want to say 80% of the problem, maybe even 90% of the problem is Arteta. But as professionals, right? You get out there and your coach is giving you instruction that you feel like it's not working for the team. Then you have to go out there and you got to demonstrate some individual brilliance, right? As a professional. The club first, the badge first before the coach, right? And that's how I feel. So there's no excuse whether or not Arteta's system is this or that. You still have professional players out there who understand how football should be played, right? And when they're out there and they're doing the exact same thing season after season, it makes you ask a question. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? As professionals, they need to step up and they need to be the change out there. And I don't see enough of that. I don't see players going out there and giving 110%. And then again, it's preseason. I don't want to get carried away. Arsenal fans are getting carried away saying that they're worried. I'm not worried. I am concerned. I'm not worried because I would think this is not going to be our starting lineup on match day when we go to Old Trafford. No way. All right. So the service that Odegaard would provide while Gyokeres was on the field, that was missing because he didn't get a chance to link up and work together. So that was missing. Rice also, that was missing. And Zubermende. Zubermende did come on before Gyokeres came off, if I could recall. But having those three players in the midfield while Gyokeres is there, I do believe that they would provide some service for him in the upcoming games. But overall, yes, it's concerning. I see fans going crazy online saying, you know, he has to go and the system is not going to work. And yeah, the system looked dodgy today. It looked sketchy. Of course, we don't want to see the same football we played last year and came second, right? We lost the league early. Like in January, the league was already done after we didn't make any purchases during the transfer window. So I get it. I get the PTSD thing, but everybody, let's calm down. All right, let's just wait. Let's see the game Saturday. Let's see if he's going to put out his strongest team because this is where he needs to kind of hammer down and nail down his system that he wants to play throughout the season. First game is going to be on the 17th against Manchester United. So he needs to have some type of system down before that game on that weekend, the first game. So I think Saturday is where he needs to put out his strongest team to start with to see how they look. He has a couple of days to have him. He hasn't been training for a couple of days before the game this Saturday, so he could kind of fix any issues. Because today he looked worried. He looked rattled today, right? So he has a couple of days before Saturday to kind of fix and tweak tweak those shortcomings and move players around. The back line, I would assume that Gabriel is going to be coming in along with Saliba still being there, and he's going to bring in Timber. And once he brings in Timber, then I think that back line will be solidified. So, I'm not worried about the back line too much, to be honest. It's the midfield and the left wing. Those are the areas that we worry about. We've been worried about that area since last year, and it hasn't been addressed yet. Madueke, I don't think is the answer. I mean, he was very direct in a couple balls across the goal, but it's not an exciting signing, man. I don't see him. I hope he does well, but I don't see him improving that position, right? Because the way we play, we need somebody to come inside, right? They have to be dynamic. They have to be able to go inside and outside. And if he's on that left wing, he's just restricted to going outside because he's left footed. So naturally, he wants to go outside and whip it inside. So that kind of limits it for him. To be honest, give Martinelli credit. He sometimes come inside and outside. On a good day, you'll see that. You'll see that dynamic where he's going in and out. With Madueke, yeah, I'm not. I don't expect that if he's going to be our starting left winger. But overall, again, guys, listen, it's preseason, so everybody calm down. But with that being said, if Arteta does not change his style of play to suit his striker, his number 9, then we're gonna have issues, right? It's gonna be 65, 67 million down the drain. I'm telling you. And it's gonna be bad for this dude, man, because Gyokeres really wanted to come to Arsenal, and he does have something to offer. He does have something to offer this team because he is a top class striker. He's a world class striker. I believe he's a world class striker. If you're looking at his numbers as compared to Isaac in the national team, right? I know in the Premier League, what I'm saying, it's hard to compare because they played 2 different leagues last season. But in their national team, Gyökeres average is higher. He's scoring more goals in less games, right? More GAs, and I think 2 or 3 more goals than Isaac, but less games, right? So the average would be more, and he's the go-to guy in his national team. So that says a lot about the guy. Like, he's quality. We know he's quality, right? Regardless if he's gonna flop or not at Arsenal, that's dependent on the team and the style of play and the coach. But we know he's a good player. All right. So let's just get that out the way. He's a good player, right? He's class. He understands how to play his role, and he plays his role very well, whether in his league or in Champions League. So we know that. So what's going to determine his success is the way we play to his game. That's it. We just have to adapt. And as a big club, if we don't adapt, he will fail. But today was really just an eye test, and a lot of these players they failed the eye test today. Only Max, Waneri, Skelly, you know, in patches. Ben White looked okay today. Um, I'm struggling now to find other players who really stood out. No guard, he scored today, but he's average. He's tidy. I believe he's an upgrade on Jorginho. To be honest, he's more mobile. Um, obviously quicker. Um, Jorginho does have a better range of passing from what I've seen so far. I haven't really seen him, ping these balls left or right or through balls, but he's very tidy in the midfield. He wins the ball, he plays it safe. And that could just be him just, being cautious right now. So it's still early, but I do like what I see. Like, he's a good backup player, right? But we struggle again to see who else had, uh, a good game today, who stood out today, other than the youngsters. So let's just wait and see until Saturday before I really make a judgment call on what the season's going to be like. But I'm not stressed. I'm concerned, but I'm not stressed because this team today wouldn't be our starting team. It's not our strongest team, and we didn't see any Kai Havertz today. I don't recall if he was on the bench, if he has a knock, but we didn't see him at all today. I was really thinking about him, to be honest, because I want to see more of Gyokeres, and hopefully we'll see more of Gyokeres to come this weekend, and hopefully he'll start at Old Trafford in the game against Manchester United. So there you have it, guys. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, let me know what are your thoughts today. What were your thoughts today on the game? And hopefully we'll bounce back and we'll win the Emirates Cup come this weekend. Appreciate you guys. Be safe and peace.